You are walking past a repair shop and through the open doorway you catch a flash. Blue-white, sharp, gone in a second. Your eyes have already moved away before you decided to move them. That reaction happened without any thought. Your visual system registered something too intense and redirected your gaze before you had consciously processed what you were seeing. Most people know they are not supposed to look at welding. The light is very bright. Do not look at it. But the warning is usually aimed at the wrong thing. The brightness is not actually the most dangerous part of a welding arc. The most dangerous part is completely invisible. You cannot see it, you cannot feel it while it is happening, and by the time you notice anything is wrong, it has already done its work. Understanding why starts with understanding what that flash actually is. Let's get into it right here on Small Things. What an arc actually is. When a welder brings an electrode close to a piece of metal, electricity jumps across the narrow gap between them. This is called an electric arc. The gap is only a few millimeters wide, but the electrical energy concentrated in that tiny space is enormous. The arc heats whatever passes through it to temperatures between 6,000 and 10,000 degrees Celsius. The surface of the sun sits at around 5,500 degrees. At those temperatures, matter does not behave the way it normally does. The particles in the arc absorb so much energy that electrons are stripped from their atoms. The result is plasma, a superheated state of matter where particles are energized enough to emit large amounts of light. That is why a welding arc glows the way it does. From a curious spark to a manufacturing tool, the electric arc that welders use today was not invented to weld anything. In 1802, an English chemist named Humphrey Davy was experimenting with electricity and noticed that if he brought two carbon rods connected to a battery close together and then slowly separated them, an arc of brilliant light would form in the gap between them. He could sustain it, move it, and study it. It was a scientific curiosity, electricity visible as light held in open air. Nobody immediately thought of it as a way to join metal. The arc was studied by scientists for decades before engineers began to recognize that the same extreme heat that made the arc so visually striking could also melt metal. If the arc was hot enough to turn gas into plasma, it was certainly hot enough to fuse two pieces of steel. By the late 19th century, the electric arc had become the basis of arc welding, one of the most important manufacturing technologies ever developed. It made possible the construction of steel-framed buildings, large ships, pipelines, and eventually the infrastructure of the industrial world. Every structural joint in a high-rise, every pressure vessel in a chemical plant, every hull plate on a cargo ship was joined by something descended from Davy's curious spark. The technology spread quickly through shipbuilding and heavy industry during the early 20th century, particularly during the two world wars, when the demand for fast, strong metal joining outpaced anything riveting could deliver. By the middle of the century, arc welding was everywhere. Factories, construction sites, repair workshops, vehicle manufacturing, bridge building. The skill passed from industrial specialists into general trades, and eventually into workshops, garages, and backyards. Today, a welding torch is not a specialist tool. It is available in hardware stores and used by hobbyists as readily as professionals. But along the way, welders and the people around them started noticing something strange. Eye pain arriving not during the work but hours later. A burning feeling, redness, tearing, the sensation of something caught under the eyelid. It happened to welders. It happened to people who had only watched. And it happened whether the person had looked directly at the arc or simply been present in the area. What was causing it took time to understand. 3 things the arc produces. A welding arc does not just produce visible light, and that is the part most people never think about. Because the arc is so hot, it emits energy across a broad range of the spectrum simultaneously. Stand near a welder and you will feel warmth on your face even from several meters away. That warmth is infrared radiation, the same type of energy that carries heat from the sun to the earth. The arc produces it in large quantities, which is why working near active welding feels like standing too close to a heater. Then there is the visible light, the blue-white glow that makes your eyes water and your head turn. This is the part of the arc that everyone notices, and it is intense enough to cause temporary visual disturbance if you look at it directly. But the third thing the arc produces is invisible, and it is the one that causes actual damage. Ultraviolet radiation sits just beyond the range of light the human eye can detect. You cannot see it, and you cannot feel it happening in real time. The sun produces UV as well, which is why skin burns on bright days, even when the temperature feels mild. The UV from a welding arc is significantly more intense than sunlight at close range. When UV radiation hits the surface of the eye, it damages the cells in the same way sunlight damages exposed skin. The condition this causes is called photokeratitis, or more informally, arc eye or welder's flash. What makes it especially disorienting is the delay. In the hours after exposure, the eye begins to swell and inflame. The person may feel fine while it is happening and then wake up in the middle of the night with severe pain, excessive tearing, extreme sensitivity to light, and a gritty sensation as if something is trapped under the eyelid. The damage was done at the moment of exposure. The pain arrives later when the body's inflammatory response catches up. This delay is one of the reasons arc eye has caught people off guard for as long as welding has existed. Closing your eyes is not enough. The most common assumption people make about welding exposure is that looking away quickly or closing their eyes gives them adequate protection. That assumption is wrong, and it has caused a lot of unnecessary arc eye. Eyelids block visible light reasonably well, but they are thin, living tissue, not UV filtering glass. Ultraviolet radiation passes through eyelid tissue with much less resistance than it meets from visible light. A sufficiently intense arc at close range can still expose the surface of the eye through closed lids. Standard sunglasses do not help either. Most sunglasses reduce visible brightness and filter some UV under normal daylight conditions. The UV from a welding arc is far more intense. Sunglasses dim the glare, which actually makes it easier to look toward the arc directly, while doing little to stop the UV. In some cases, they increase the risk of arc eye rather than reducing it because they remove the visible discomfort that would otherwise make a person look away. Exposure also does not require a direct view of the arc. UV reflects and scatters from nearby surfaces, metal benches, concrete floors, pale walls. A person working beside a welder, never once looking toward the arc, can still receive enough scattered UV to develop arc eye hours later and have no idea when it happened. This is the reason proper welding areas use barriers and screens, not to protect the welder who already has a helmet, but to protect everyone else in the space who might be passing through without thinking about the arc behind the curtain. The helmet that thinks faster than you do. Today, you will find two pieces of engineering that exist specifically because the human body cannot respond quickly enough to protect itself from a welding arc. The first is the auto-darkening welding helmet. Traditional helmets used a fixed dark lens that permanently reduced light transmission. This protected the welder's eyes once the arc started, but created a practical problem. Before striking the arc, the welder was looking through a very dark lens and could barely see what they were doing. They had to position the electrode, then flip the helmet down and start welding while partially working from memory. Auto-darkening helmets contain sensors that detect the arc in milliseconds and darken the lens before enough UV has reached the eye to cause damage. The lens transitions from clear to protective faster than the human nervous system can register the arc and send a signal to close the eyelids. The welder can see clearly during setup, and the helmet responds before the body can. These lenses are also designed to block infrared and UV radiation, regardless of their current shade setting, so protection is continuous. The second piece of engineering is the welding screen or curtain, usually made from a material that absorbs UV without transmitting it. These screens partition workshop areas specifically to manage the scattered and reflected UV that can reach people who are nowhere near the arc itself. The screen absorbs what the floor and walls would otherwise bounce around the room. The bright part warns you. So why can't you look at welding, even for a short moment? Think about that flash through the repair shop doorway again. The involuntary flinch before the thought arrived. The bright flash makes you look away. That instinct is correct. But it is protecting you from the glare, not from the radiation that arrives at the same moment, does its damage silently, and leaves no signal that anything happened until hours later. A welding arc is a reminder that some forms of energy are dangerous, not because they look dramatic, but because our eyes cannot detect them until the damage has already begun. The warning and the hazard are not the same thing. The warning is what you see. The hazard is what you cannot. If this changed the way you think about the next time you see a welding flash, let us know in the comments what you want us to explore next. We might make it our next episode. Thanks for watching. History often hides in the smallest details.